Greetings. My name is the Pulga, Frank Sinatra. Welcome back to another great episode.
You like that one?
Yes, I did. Juan just put me on blast and gave me a new nickname that I never thought would be so deserving. So greetings from the Pulga, Frank Sinatra. My name is Omar.
That shit's excellent, actually. I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back for that one. I came up with that one myself. And my name's Juan. Here to roast Omar whenever I can, because he does the same. So
that's what we do. And we're back at it again with another great episode. This is now officially our second video episode. We previously
so you guys can
released.
See? Oh, never mind.
Oh,
tomorrow's arm day. Sorry.
Okay. All right. We'll let that one slide upon. I'll think of a roast shortly. So this is officially our second video that we're doing. Our first one that we premiered on YouTube was the one about leadership. So if you haven't, please check that out. Like we said, we're constantly trying to improve, build up this, really make this a movement, a brand, something that you guys can, join us with, and also kind of in one way or another be inspired by. So we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and now YouTube, as well
Pulga
as your other,
too.
as well as the Pulga podcast. So next time you hit the local flea market, make sure you ask for the Intrynsic podcast with the Y.
They'll definitely know what that is.
They will. And if you ask them for Instagram and they come back with Moco Space, just go along with it, man. it's better, I promise.
That's all right. Worst case scenario, you'll just buy a shirt from them with a gangster SpongeBob, and you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah,
I just shared with you all the actual knowledge. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to go. I want to go back. They still have it, right? Like where do they have it? Like Petaluma, I think.
The flea market that I would go to be on the way to Vallejo or American Canyon from Napa. I guess it's considered Napa, right?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. You're right. I'm thinking about the same one. Yeah, Petaluma. I don't know why I said Petaluma. Anyways, I'm going to go, and I'm actually, I didn't think about this, but I'm going to go buy one of those gangster SpongeBob shirts for Ja. He would fucking love that shit, dude.
That would actually
I don't think he would ever wear it, but he would for sure love it.
Yeah, it'd be kind of difficult to think of a good scenario to wear that shirt in, but I'm sure it'd be a
when
great
you're
gift.
Sleeping, when it's dark and nobody's around. That's the scenario.
Yeah. Well, Ja, if you're listening, you have a present coming your way. And if you haven't heard this and don't listen to this, well, you don't deserve it.
He said he was excited for the video one, so I'm gonna ask him.
Yeah, hell yeah. Shout out to Ja. So here we are, another great episode. We're feeling good today, We're feeling very
loose.
Very loosey-goosey.
Ooh, loosey-goosey. There you go. Jinx,
you owe me a soda.
Yeah, nice.
Or a protein shake. And we're talking earlier today about like things that we would do if we had $1 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I was mentioning this to Juan, like I thought this is like honestly really hilarious to me. A few weeks back, he was just kind of like, dude, why can't I just have like $1 million? And I'm like,
please.
I think that's most people would probably say the same thing. And I thought it was funny, But then as I was telling you this past week, I literally had the same like kind of thought from that same place. I'm like, dude, I'm just like working. Like, why can't I just get the money already? Like, I'm gonna work hard. Like, I'm not gonna like go fuck off. Right. I'm gonna keep working hard.
Yeah. And
that kind of led us down this whole, tangent on like what we would do with $1 million, right? We each, discuss our own points of views and what we should do, what we shouldn't do. And it led us to us now wanting to discuss this on the podcast, but in a grander scheme, right? Of dreams, right? Now I had previously brought up dreams on the podcast in like the earlier episodes of,
those were dreams, like sleep dreams. And
like sleep dreams.
You were talking about trippy ass dreams too, which I was like,
what
the fuck am I talking to here?
Like lucid dreaming and like the power of dreams, right?
Yeah.
This is different than that. But the only similar thing being that sometimes dreams become something that is like so far-fetched, like beyond reality, right? And I think that's what they should be, right? Like, for example, if you get $1 million, right? My dream would be to X, Y, and Z. Like, that should be what your dreams are like. They should be shaping something that's so far-fetched from reality that they're almost fantasy-like, right? Because that's what we should aspire, right? We should aim super high, reach for the stars, right? If you come up short, god damn, you still made it really high, right? As compared to being like, man, my dream is to like, maybe like, you know, get a cheeseburger tomorrow. Like, that'd be cool. You know, that'd be a dream. Yeah. It's like,
which is a fair dream for some people out there. You know what I mean? Like when you're like really in a super big struggle, like I'm just thinking about like, you know, the thought that comes in everyone's mind, like, you know, kids in Africa and shit. That is like, that would, you know, it literally is like a fucking dream. I mean, just to add the perspective, because I know what you mean. Like for someone like me and you, it's like, why are you dreaming about a burger, bro? You know, it's like, it's a burger.
Yeah.
But it is fair. It's like every dream for someone is like their entire world, right? For us, it's like $1 million or something like that. For someone who lives in poverty, like they don't have no reference point of $1 million. They're probably thinking about like $10, you know?
Yeah.
Or rubles or whatever currency they're in, you know?
Okay. To be fair, dreams vary, you know, upon person, right?
Keeping them in check.
Yeah. Because, I mean, we have it pretty good, right? We definitely have it pretty good. We have our own struggles, right? We're not living the lavish lifestyle we wish we had, but we also have it very good. And we do need to recognize that, right?
Sure.
But point being, dreams, sueños, you know, the things that we aspire to accomplish someday in our lives before we cease to exist, right? That's what we're here to talk about today. You know, I think most kids, when they're at a very young age, are like, oh, my dream is to be like an astronaut or like a monster truck driver, right? And as you age, those kinds of dreams change. But again, what stays the same is that they're still very fantasy-like. They're very like out there, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I like, right? From being a young kid to now, is still having that kind of young curiosity inside of me, right? That makes me feel quote unquote young, right? And I think that is what really helps you stay in your youth, especially when you're older in age, is that kind of, you know, you're continuing to reach, you know, far beyond your reach, right? You're like, I want to do this. I want to do that. I think that kind of keeps you striving, keeps you aspiring to be something that you're not and something better than you ultimately are. But dreams.
Yeah. And
what is one of your dreams, Juan?
Give me a prompt.
What is one of your dreams, Juan?
Set me up for something.
Set me up for failure.
I don't know. I don't know. I actually don't think about this as often, I feel like, as I should. Because I like to think about, like, what most people think about dreams, I sort of like to think about as goals, not dreams. Because then it's like, then they're actual discernible, like, reality. You know, you can actually, like, think, like, for example, one of my, whatever people would say dreams, for me, it's more like a goal is to have, like, my own company, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think about that as a dream, because even though I know it's super hard and it's going to be a struggle, however it is I get there, it's not something that I see as impossible. You know, it's something I see very much as possible. Just, again, obviously depending on how much work I put in, the situation I'm in, and of course, whether it makes me happy or not, right? We're all basing these dreams on our current needs and wants, right? Maybe in 10 years, I think, like, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. Who knows? I kind of doubt it, but who knows? Maybe. Mm-hmm. So starting a company for me is one of those goals, not really a dreams. Dream for me is like, kind of like what we were talking about, you know, like stuff that is really sort of a bit more unlikely to happen. Like I would legitimately like to have $1 million, and I suppose a dream of mine would just be like win the lottery. Because to me, like knowing, like being a math major, like I know the probability is like super fucking small. So it's close to like impossible to win. think it was something like you're more likely to get struck by lightning twice or something. I don't know. Maybe some made
That's
up
so
thing, but
fucked.
it's super rare to happen. Right. So I suppose that's a dream of mine. Um, Actually, the dream of mine that I'm thinking about more recently that I told you about was like traveling for a year, just legit like traveling for a fucking year.
Mm.
Um, I saw this video on YouTube of some kid who did pretty much that exact same thing. Super cool, um, super amazing. And I told you, I feel like I'm biased towards like France and Europe because like the person that I became there was like made me so happy of like who I could become and the people that were around me. Like overall, the experience was just
Yeah.
super positive. And I think because of that, that was sort of like the source of me loving to travel and this dream of mine to like travel for like a year is sort of like an extension of that. It's like that, but like on steroids. Because what I was doing in France was like I was traveling, but I was also studying, right? So I was technically in a program. I technically had to be in school 4 or 5 days a week. And so my travels were usually in our vacation time or maybe over the weekend because countries were super close.
Mm.
Um, but it was very much like in a structured sense. Like I knew where I was going to live. I knew that I had to do this and I had to do that. And I had a lot of help. This is very much more like the wild, wild west for me. If I just decide and I would have liked to, who knows if it happens, but if I just decide like January 2023, it's like, all right, I'm out. Not that I'll quit my job, not that I'll, quit the podcast. I'll still be doing those things. It's just very much going to be like, figure everything out by yourself. If you want to spend a month here, spend a month there, but you have to figure out the logistics. Primarily by logistics, I mean the money. Like, how is that money going to work, especially? And how's it going to work with my job? How's it going to work with the podcast? Specifically with my job, I've spoken to them about it and they've been open to it. But they've been open to it for like, because I think another coworker of mine lived in like India for like a couple months when his like father was sick.
Yeah.
So they're open to it. I just don't know for how long, because a year is a really long time. I know that
Mm.
they would be down for a month. I think I could make it work for 2 months. Anything beyond that, I really have to figure out some sort of thing. Because also, right, you have to consider that like in my dream, I'm not in one country the entire time, right? Maybe
Right.
I'll be in a country for 2 to 3 months, another country for 2 to 3 months. And as I said, the further I go east, is it east? Yeah, east to like Asia, which is where I want to go as well, like Indonesia, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, whatever, Philippines.
Mm.
Then there's a pretty significant time difference, Whereas in France, I
Right.
think it's about 6 hours in France from like the East Coast to France, or maybe from the West Coast to France. Either way, big time jump. But over there, it'll be literally like 12 hours, So
Mm.
I don't know. That is my dream of mine, though. So,
Okay.
and also, partly, for all the viewers out there, I'd like Omar to tag along and be like, yo, slide through. Maybe if it's not for a whole year, but be like, yo, meet me in this country. We'll hang out there for like a month or two.
Yeah.
That stuff I fucking love. Because it's like,
Yeah.
then, trust me, then, like, because I've met friends that I've made like in high school in France and in other countries. And then you just think about, holy fuck, you remember when we were in that class and that was like, we're some stupid little kids. Look where we're at now. Not necessarily like glamorous shit, but just literally physically, we're like in a different country doing some other stuff. So slide through, bro. Slide in my
Yeah.
DMs.
I think the Pulga Frank Sinatra would really love to be your butler, along these
Butler.
vacations. No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, okay, so for Juan, his dreams revolve around travel,
Facts.
and I think that's very much you. If somebody were to ask me about you, like, what's what word I would describe you, I'm like travel. That's literally what I think of, like almost immediately, right? Um,
And people. Just a slight little thing. I travel for like the food, but also like you meet like the craziest people, man. It's amazing.
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. I like that. That's cool. For me personally,
Yeah. What about for you?
dreams.
What do you dream about? Something
I
out
don't
there,
know.
something that really like, because $1 million thing, it's exciting to think about like, oh shit, $1 million for sure. But something that like gets your blood pumping. You know, something that to me a dream is like something that like gets your blood pumping. It makes you super excited. Yes, obviously. It also scares you a little bit. To me, all of my actual meaningful dreams actually kind of scare me. It scares me to like travel for a year because you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know if like maybe your job's like, nah, actually we don't want to do this anymore. Maybe it comes, you know, in conflict with your podcast or with something similar. Like there's all these different things. But at the end of the day, I know the one single emotion that will be there and you know, in addition to fear, in addition to frustration and all these other things, is happiness. Like pure ecstasy level happiness. Because I've been there before.
I mean, that's one thing that I've like consistently talked about on the podcast is that internal happiness. You know, that's something that I'm pursuing. So whatever my dreams may be or may become in the near future, I think will always revolve around that, you know, the genuine happiness. The thing is for me, like, I guess my dreams are very like fluid, you know, like they're kind of like all over the place. I don't know how to describe it. Like things that make me happy are like people, right? Meeting really cool people, having cool experiences, also going on like cool drives, seeing cool places, you know, cool landscapes, cool areas, right? I enjoy driving, I enjoy cars, I enjoy trucks, I enjoy learning about things, how they work, right? Mechanically. I enjoy the podcast. I like to dream about what this podcast might become, you know, for you, for me, for the both of us, for everybody that's listening. I don't know. There's a lot.
What's the good stuff though? Those to me, and maybe just like from my perspective, I'm not understanding correctly. Not try to diminish your dreams at all. Just thinking like those.
Your dreams are shit, Omar.
Yeah, stop dreaming.
They're not good enough.
Those just seem like goals, or they do seem like dreams. Let's say, all right, they're dreams. But I feel like everyone has like some big thing in them that's like a dream, you know, like something. Because you saying, for example, and I know you're right, you like cars and you like driving and you like seeing new places for sure. You like trying new restaurants, so on and so forth. That to me just screams someone that loves to travel who hasn't traveled yet. Because you love to see new places, you love to go on drives, you love to see new sceneries, and literally, you know, you do it currently through, you know, by going locally, by driving to places, and that's awesome. But that just screams to me like, in my mind, I'm like, damn, I wonder what Omar would be like if he sees like, I don't know, the Acropolis in Greece. Like, this is where this is where Zeus chilled. And what would he be like if he saw the beaches in Portugal or something like that? That's just the thing that comes to my mind. But I think maybe the perspective, I feel like maybe slightly missing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm not really all that inspired, you know, I think is fair to say. Because I don't really have all that much going on right now in my life. I mean, I do have a lot going on, but not necessarily like things that are like thought provoking or like super like motivational or inspirational. It's more so right now my life looks more like just work, just, you know, getting after it consistently, checking off the boxes, you know, every day. Right. But there's not so much of that outlier, you know.
Don't you want to break out of that though?
Absolutely.
As someone who works like that, and I love my job and I love the direction which I'm heading and learning all the shit that I'm doing, investing. This is why I said, like, I just wish I would have $1 million because it would give me an instant ticket to break out. I could consistently keep going. That's fine. Have $1 million and keep working, which I would probably do. But it would also give you a ticket to just completely break free. I reference that. I think it's Queen. I Want to Break Free. I think it's that song. Mm-hmm. Right?
There's also a Duranguense remix. So check that out on YouTube.
Check out Queen. I want to be free. I literally listened to that. You know where I listened to that song the most? When I was in my master's program. Why? Because I wanted to get the fuck out of that master's program. And lately I've been listening to it a bit more. Again, I love my life now. It's just like, why the basic stuff?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I guess I'll say is like, yeah, that is one of my dreams is to be free. right? Because I mean, up until recently, I was telling you like, okay, I might be like changing like job, career, you know, I might be shutting down the business, moving on to something else. And I was like the closest I've ever been to just, you know, dropping everything and leaving. But the way life works out isn't always the way that you want it to. And I'm like, okay, I might have to postpone for a little bit longer. I got another priority, right? But I would very much like to be free. I mean, I have discussed this a little bit, but like, you know, with my accident and all that stuff, like it set a certain amount of restrictions on my life legally, but also mentally, which is something that some people don't really discuss about. And I won't really get all that into it. I keep putting it off, but
I think mentally more than legally.
absolutely, absolutely. Because if somebody were to have known me back in high school, they'd be like, "Oh, dude, like this guy's like all over the place. Like he's always doing shit. Like he's just always like laughing or doing stuff, right?" I mean, and I still that is kind of still me, but I'm much more reserved, right? As I've also spoken, I'm also a lot more introverted now. I move differently. I do things with caution, with precaution. Like I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to do things, right? So that I think is a very big thing for me. Is I just want to be free. I want to be free to not necessarily act carelessly, you know, still responsibly, but almost like if there weren't to be any consequences, you know, again, within reason, you know, I'm not saying like, oh, let's go get fucking shit faced. Let's go, you know, like,
Sure.
I'm not really talking about that, but
regular young people shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I think you and I, like, I mean, certainly I do. Like, I'm hard on myself, and I know you're hard on yourself, especially after that incident. But we got to remember, like, I'm still, 25? What are you, 24?
Yeah.
You're 24. Like, literally, like, what my sister's friends tell me all the time, like, you're fucking hella young. And I'm not used to it because usually, like, among my friends, I'm the oldest one. But
sure,
it's true. Like, if I'm fucking 25, you're like 24, literally. Like, we're super young. So I know what you mean. It's not like careless, idiotic, stupid things. It's just literally being young and being still dumb, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I used to do this so often back in the day. Like I would literally wake up some days, I'd call out from work and I'd be like, I'm gonna go to the beach today. And I would literally just, my goal that day was to do nothing but go to the beach. And I would go on the drive. I'd be slapping music. Sometimes I'd be by myself. Sometimes I'd be with buddies, but it'd be equally as fun, you know, and not a single care in the world. That is something that I miss so fucking much. Like that kind of real freedom where it's like, yeah, I want to do that today. And guess what? I'm going to go do that today. Like there's not a single restriction, you know, being self-employed, having your own business can allow that at times, but more than anything, it's very much the opposite. You know, you have to be more responsible because you have to be more on top of things, on top of your clients and all that stuff. But yeah, you know, my dream, honestly, at this point is just to be free. You know, what that looks like, what that shapes like in the near future, I don't know, because that's the thing about my life right now. Like, there's so much going on that will factor into the near future, you know, like depending on how things go down, what things come to light, that is basically going to shape like the next few years for me, right?
This is the dream episode, Omar, not the listing all of these other things that are going on. What is your dreams?
I need
you to break. This is the same. You guys don't know, but this is the same conversation I had with him on a slightly different topic. On that drive back to my apartment in Davis, where I was like, "Why are you thinking this way? Why are you like in this box?" And I know why now. In that moment, it was pretty dumb of me. I didn't see the full picture.
Stupid, Juan.
I was very stupid in the moment. I see now, but like, you make your own circumstances, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you made them before, and just like you made them before, now you can make them again. You know, I mean, we make them sort of every single day. And I know for a fact, like, you have things in you that you're like, fuck, man, like, what if I can do that? But I feel like you're slightly kind of like I was doing in college, like tempering your dreams, like just like, yeah, this is a dream, but it's like, let's actually like look one step lower just to be safe, just to play it safe. Like, we'll go one step lower. Like, actually, I want to travel the world for like 4 fucking years. Now let's just actually go one step lower. Like, let's just like 4 weeks. 4 months, just like a little bit. And then that's only like once I get set up with this, and then I get set up with this. And I'm a pretty good foundation right now, but actually I need to like, be a little bit more stable and get this sorted out. That sound like you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've already said it. It's the mental limitation that both I've set on myself and, the legal system has also set on me. Not much else to say about that.
That's to break out, what it is. Man. You have to break out.
Absolutely. And I will.
That's why.
But unfortunately, there's a certain way that things have to happen in order to get out of that, right? Like you can't.
Why is there a certain way? You have to talk about it legally, because legally it's like, yeah, sure, it's a certain way, but mentally there's no certain way. Physically, there's no certain way. I mean, like if you travel, let's say tomorrow, you're like, yeah, I'm going to go to Canada for a week. That's not going to inhibit your other things. You know what I mean? Yeah, sure, you're going to miss that 1 week of work. So like everyone else, you'll miss out on that sort of income, but it won't like risk your whole process and plan. You know what I mean?
Well, I actually think you can't travel to Canada if you have like a felony. I want to say.
Okay, excuse me. Travel to Mexico, Mr. Technicality. Travel to fucking Hawaii. That's still the United States. There you go.
Ultimately, when you break it down, it does seem like I would be creating excuses for myself, right? But that's the thing.
Seem like, or is it?
No, it is. It is. But what I'm saying is like when you've gone through the system, when you're in the system, part of it is breaking you down to build you back up, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point of rehabilitation and trying to get your life back together and all this stuff, which supposedly that's what the legal system, the courts, that's what they can do. That's what they provide, right? In many cases, they're successful. I'm not going to say they aren't, but unfortunately, one of the side effects, right, is that you come out kind of unsteady, not really sure of yourself, because if before I used to enjoy myself and my dreams were aspiring to be something, completely crazy and spontaneous, as you said, now my dreams are tempered, right? I'm like brought down a few notches, right? And it's kind of what the system does to you, right? That's not necessarily so much there to help you. Like it'll chew you up, it'll spit you out, they could care less. If, they receive their funds from you, if they receive your time, right? They move on to the next person, right? It's like a machine. It's like you come in, you get stamped, you get shut out, right? And then it's up to you to really focus on yourself, build yourself back up. But how do you go back to being the person that you were before if that's what got you in trouble in the first place? That kind of mentality, that way that you were living your life, right?
You don't. You have to create a new version of yourself.
Exactly.
That is the part that you have 100% control over.
Sure.
It's all you, right?
Yeah. But it's a process. It's not so simple. I wish it was. I'm not saying I'm not doing it. I'm not trying to work towards it. I've been doing it. I've been trying to work towards it. We've been making some progress, right? But ultimately,
go ahead. Sorry.
Ultimately, I won't reach that point until I'm legally done. No probation, no repercussions, no limitations. Like when I can obtain a legal document that says I'm done mentally, I'm checked out, I'm like, all right, we move on to the next phase of life. But until then, if I don't see it written in paper, I'm always living with okay, what if they check up on me? What if something happens, what if I'm driving and get pulled over? I have something in the vehicle that for some reason I shouldn't have. It's like all these little things that you're constantly having on your mind that weigh you down day with day. You don't think about them every day, but maybe you're just going home from work one day and all of a sudden you just see a cop behind you and you're like, oh shit, did I remember to do this one thing? Is my registration all good? Is this good? Is this, it's an additional weighing on your shoulders that it's not really necessary, but like I said,
I
Of
had one
course.
question, but now I have a different question, actually.
Yeah.
Imagine this scenario. You're in the legal system for the rest of your life. Then what?
Yeah. Well, you're fucked.
No, you specifically.
Yeah, then I'm fucked.
For the rest
I
of your
mean,
life, just like toss the towel.
I don't know. I mean, what would that look like? I mean, being in prison all your life?
No. You like, let's say like you, and you're saying like
No, I know
you need a
we're talking about me
document.
specifically. Yeah.
Yeah, like you need a document specifically that says like, yeah, you're done, you're good, whatever. Let's say in your case, you're technically good, but you're always going to be there in the system or some sort
Yeah.
of thing like that. Let's say like a super low level probation thing. It's still there, but it's like super low. They don't really care that much. They don't really check up that much. For the rest of your life, though, it's just like for the rest of your life, you're just gonna walk on eggshells?
I mean, this is a hypothetical. I know what you're
Yeah, it's
trying to do here, but
hypothetical.
well, I mean, okay. I'll use an example that I saw a documentary on Netflix where a guy was like falsely accused and he did
Mhm.
prison time, but then even when he's released, he's still on probation, even though he was falsely accused, right? So, yes, in that scenario, it is up to you to create your new reality. It is up to you to pull yourself out of whatever place you were in or place that you were put in and try to work towards a new future, try to work towards a new identity, try to work towards, creating a better life for yourself. But it doesn't take away from the fact that mentally though, like that still happened, there's certain traumatic things that you go through throughout your lives that create a different future for you, create a different life, right? It doesn't necessarily mean it has to be your identity. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to label the rest of your life, but it's very much a part of it, right? It's, I don't know how else to explain it. And I don't like using the like, oh, like you had to be there to know what's going on, or unless you've gone through it, you wouldn't know. I hate people that say that, because we should be able to try to explain things to one another, to try to, sympathize or at least, understand each other. But um, I don't know.
So what's the
It's
answer?
what that would look like.
Not to my
If
question, yeah. Like if not what that would look like, but in that scenario, are you? And I know you know what I'm trying to ask you here, but in that scenario, just toss the towel for the rest of your life and like be very cautious for the rest of your life.
maybe, yeah. I mean, thinking about that just gives me like a whole bunch of anxiety. Um, Yeah, maybe because you are walking on eggshells. You are living with potential like serious repercussions if you get caught, slipping. Like how they say, like if you fuck up, if you do something you're not supposed to, and you're already on eggshells, like things can become very, very bad for you. Because this is what will basically keep you from being free or quote unquote free, and being locked up or again going through serious repercussions. It's a
I think
whole nother.
I think the judicial system is very effective at putting your mind in a box after going through it,
Yeah.
because think about anyone that goes through it, and it's not just like a simple like fucking parking ticket or something like that, but like an actual case, things happen, blah 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 blah. Whether you do time or you don't do time, irrelevant. You just go through the system for something more serious. At that point, the state, the government is seeing you as some sort of a threat, to society. It may be a
Yeah.
low level threat, it may be a more serious threat, right? People are like
Or a threat to yourself.
actual people who actually like murder people, like obviously that's a real threat.
Mm-hmm.
And through like talking to you and then also like reading a bunch of other stuff and documentaries, all that sort of stuff, whatever. The judicial system does a very good job at putting people who it has labeled a threat to society in a box, not just like physically, which happens a lot in a literal like cage in a prison, but mentally for people who maybe were there or were not there. Mentally, they're put in a box because if that person limits themselves, then they become less of a threat. And not only that, but the government saves money because you don't actually have to be physically in a prison where money has to be paid to maintain that prison, right? It's really like a free prison that I think they put on people's mind. And then that way they can walk around fine. They can reassemble into society. But there's a sort of, and it's obviously not the case for everyone, but there's a sort of reassurance from the government of like, well, we put all these obstacles in their place, in front of them. We put this and we put that. Even when they get out of the judicial system, they're going to have this sort of second thought of like, yeah, I don't want to fuck up like that again, which is fair, right? Why would you want to fuck up like that again? You could go through that whole system again, some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
But, and it, again, you can look at it from like whichever side. Like if it's something like a serious crime, like, yeah, you want that person to feel like they're in a box. But if it's something that is like, for most people, I think like a genuine mistake, or maybe, like that whole, like it's different in like California now, but like how people in the like 90s got like arrested for like weed, like simple shit like that. And now they like served a bunch of prison time, right? Those are people who just literally maybe made a simple mistake, or wasn't even technically not a mistake anymore because it's legal, who now have to live with the repercussions, right? But for those people, that's what I'm talking about when I say it's unfortunate that they put those sort of restrictions on them, because they have a sort of like an open wound. You know what I mean? Because it's always there, and you're always going to remember like, yeah, that moment sucked. I don't want to go through that. I'm not going to do that other thing. And again, it can be positive for certain scenarios because you won't make the same certain mistakes or dumb decisions that you previously made. But at the same time, right, for me, I'm just thinking like, also the person that was pretty fucking amazing. And it won't be the same person again, but the person that has to emerge, I think, has to be different. And frankly, it's sort of an uphill battle of actually being able to, I think, dream again, not just in terms of like small things like I want to do this or I want to do that, but really the stupid, crazy dreams that you're just like, holy shit, I wonder if I can do that. Like that's crazy, right? It's kind of like the hold my beer thoughts, but essentially for life, right? Like, oh fuck, let me see if I can do this. That is something that is off topic, but it's also something that I think I think you've already thought about it. It's not like I'm bringing this up and you're like, yeah, dude, you're actually right. I've never thought about that. But just something that for anyone listening, right? It's a process. Yes, it's a process, but the pace of that process is all based on you. It's all just based on like how much urgency you have, how much you're willing to risk, right? Yes, it's like you never want to go back to that place, and it's good. But for anything in life, whether you're there, you're not there, if you've gone through the system or you haven't gone through the system, there will always be risk associated, not just with regular things, but even more with those dreams. Right? There's a reason I said like that dream for me of traveling carries a lot of risk in there for me personally, because I could lose my job, because I could lose, I could mismanage, the podcast, and maybe, we don't do it anymore. There's other things. There's friendships, there's family, there's relationships there that I know for a fact, even though it's something I want to do, it's a dream of mine, there's a high level of risk there, right? And it's becoming comfortable again, I think, with those risks when you've gone through the system and when you haven't gone through the system. Nobody's comfortable with risk overall. But I think if you can manage to put it at least under control, bit by bit by bit, that's what could really open up the dreams, because there is no dreaming without risks. And if you're not willing to accept risks, how can you dream?
Nicely said.
Thank you.
Yeah. Only other thing I'll say about that is, for anybody that is also going through a similar situation, know that it does come to an end at some point, and like you're saying, it is ultimately up to you when you're done, when you decide that you're done suffering, right? Yes, there's legal dates. Yes, it's stamped on a piece of paper, but ultimately it is up to you to get yourself out of that mentality, that structure that they provided for you while you're in the system. Right now, it's like you have to go back to providing for yourself mentally, physically, create a new foundation for yourself, if you will, revamp your life, which is, very much what I've talked about recently, and will continue to do so, because that's where I'm at. That's who I am. And, that's on my path. Not everybody understands, and that's okay. I do my best to try to incorporate my life without having it all be revolving around like, hey guys, this is what I'm doing. Right. I don't want to bombard people. I don't want to, annoy people either. But I do think it's something important. And at times I think it becomes more important when we realize that this is something really common. This isn't just that one neighbor from down the block or whatever. This could be just about anybody, your brother, your sister, uncle, aunt, even your parents, family, friends, whatever. It happens to a lot of people. And so hang in there. You're on the right path. I hope you're doing the work. I hope you're getting after it to get yourself out of that, and to bring this back to what we were originally talking about, which is dreams, right? Like I said, perhaps I'm not as inspired as I should be, as I need to be. But ultimately, I know that that's something I'd like to continue to pursue in my life, right? If when I was young, I used to dream about, maybe being a race car driver, or about being a famous artist, or even maybe an actor or something, right? I need to get myself back to that. I need to get back to being inspired. I need to get back to wanting to fulfill these dreams, even if they're super far-fetched, even if they're like aiming all the way up at the stars, right? Because that's the only way we should be living our life. And why should we be living our life like that? What other way would you live your life, right? To live day to day, right? Like I'm saying, like checking off your boxes is great. I got work, great. I got clients, great. I got things to do. So what? Great. You have a few businesses, great. You own a company. So what? Like, what are you doing for yourself internally, right? What are you doing for that young kid inside of you, right? Because we all have that, right? At one point or another, we were that little kid that like just wanted the next toy, that then once just wanted the next, bigger toy, right? You went from little Hot Wheels maybe to like a big RC car or whatever, to finally driving one day, right? You naturally just progress in life. But why does it end there, right? We got to continue to develop these dreams. And it's important, because a life without a dream is almost like
not a life at all.
Not a life at all. It's a very depressing, lonely road, Again, just checking off the boxes, just getting by. Nothing
I like
more.
this reference. It's a very Mersault life, huh?
God, fuck you. Damn it, Mersault.
Shout out to The Stranger. Great book. Read it.
Yeah, but read it, close it, and burn it, and then throw away the ashes.
Honestly, yeah, I know you hate the book, and I didn't like it that much either. But which book have we referenced more than that fucking book when talking about life?
No, that's fair. That's fair.
It's the only book that we keep referencing. Why? Because it had that big of an impact. That guy was such a, excuse my French, a piece of shit, that it literally burned into our minds. We're like, that is what we do not want to be. And it's great to read about people like Elon Musk and Goggins and be like, those are great people. I kind of want to be a little bit like that. But it's also great to read about people where you're like, holy shit, I do not want to be like that guy.
People you despise.
Is the wrong way. I'm heading exactly the opposite way.
And I think I know why it is that I hate that book so much. It's because there's aspects of that I remember I felt like I connected directly with. I'm like, damn, I'm kind of like that. Or damn, I actually do that too. Right. Yep. Like there was moments when like he had like a lot of things that he needed to get done and he wouldn't do absolute shit. And I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with this man?
Yeah.
And then some days I wake up and I'm exactly the same. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, what the hell am I doing?
And his friend's like, oh, you want to go to the beach? Like, yeah, sure. And the little girl just asks him like, oh, you want to get married? Yeah, sure.
Why not?
Like, just going with the... Dude, that's why when people say like, oh, I'm just going with the flow, man, I just think like, Marceau, okay, cool.
Oh, so you're a fellow Mersal. Okay, nice to
And I
meet
get
you.
what people are saying, like, yeah, but it's like just going with the flow with like, I don't know, man. I don't know. That just seems like taking an out on life completely. Just like, well, life's just gonna be life. Cool, cool. Definitely take
Oh God.
ownership of that. So
Like one of my favorite things that I would hear all the time, and I still do sometimes, but it would be like more common like in the workplace. Like, hey, we just ran out of these packets that we need to sell or whatever. Like there's no more back in the back, right? There's no more stock. Like we need to order more. Like, if customers ask for this, like say that you're out. You're like, oh, damn, it's gonna be a long day, right?
yeah,
And like you would always have a coworker be like, well, that's life, and you're like nice,
just
yep,
bend
I
over and
guess.
take it.
Yeah, yes,
I mean,
exactly.
come on, just
It's
fucking bend over and take it. All right,
like, all right, well, let me go grab the lube again. Like, goddamn, dude.
no, bro. Those are people that use no lube. They just fucking take it as is.
Seco. Okay, damn, fuck. Yeah, I
We're
don't
off
know, man.
topic, but
Yeah, there's just people though that
yeah,
like give in to life, right? And
and that is what I'm trying to avoid for
yeah,
all of my
that's
friends
that's like the opposite of being a dreamer.
and
Is
for
just somebody that
myself.
just gives in, right?
Yeah,
Those are the two separate sides of that. Um,
that's
I'm still leaning more
yeah.
towards dreaming, although I'm not as inspired. I'm still leaning more towards that.
That's what scares me when people say stuff like that because I'm like, well, it's a very slippery slope from, well, I'm just
Yeah,
gonna do this and then this and then it's like, boom, 5 years later, like, oh hey, how's life going? Well, I just got a new truck, so it's
life
cool.
is
It's
good.
cool. Like,
Life
yeah,
is
this is
good.
good. Like when you base, and I get it. Like you love cars. I get that people love certain things,
Yeah,
but any sort of like happiness to me that's like very
materialistic.
fucking focused on material possessions, I'm just thinking like that is short term. That car will not be there one day. That car might get a scratch one day. You
Yeah,
can't, you can't talk to the car. You can't do, like if you find like a great best friend, something like that, you can do stuff with that friend. The car's just going to
yeah,
sit there. It's going to go when you press the gas and it's going to stop when you press the brake. So I think, I don't know, again, it's just a very slippery slope to me from like just passing by, getting stuff done easily turns into just like, not nothing really. I guess it
yeah.
turns into nothing.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, shiny things are nice, right?
Yeah,
But I
facts.
think that's something that maybe specifically the people from our generation above us, generations below us, especially, have kind of like lost a grip on. Like they think that if you're able to finance a vehicle, that like you've somehow become more successful than somebody that just has no finance vehicle. That just has a cheaper later model or
Yep.
earlier model vehicle, right?
Hmm.
Um, it's a weird place to be in life where you, at a very young age, are competing with people in a competition that is non-existent and that you also never really win, right? Because
Yeah.
that's the thing about material possessions is you buy it one day and the next day the new one comes out. The better one
Hmm.
comes out. There's the latest model. There's a slightly different model. It's the one with the slightly different color variation. Oh, you have the brand new fucking ZL1 Camaro, but did you see it in this color though? But did you know that they made it with this, interior option? And you're like,
Yeah.
ah, damn it, I need that one too. And it's like you really never, you never really complete your happiness,
Yeah.
your satisfaction. You're never really content.
People got
And
to
this is
realize,
coming,
yeah,
this is
we live
coming
in a
somebody.
capitalist government.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But this is also coming from somebody that like loves cars, right?
Yeah.
Like don't get it twisted, people. Like I very much love cars. I've loved cars since I was like a very young kid. But even I recognize this because there's people that are our age that I saw and still do and will continue to see financing these brand new vehicles. All for what? Like, what are you really doing? What are you really obtaining from that? I have an old work truck. It's nothing fancy, but goddamn, it works great. Like, it's failed on me a few times, but hey, it's mechanical. It's a machine. It's gonna fail, right? And I would rather take that than something brand new that I'm afraid to scratch, or that man, like my payments are too high. Like I might not be able to afford this anymore. You know?
Yeah.
If you look at life kind of like a business, where's all the money going, right? Like, oh, it's to this brand new vehicle that I'm paying off. Like, oh, so you must have your own house now too, right? Oh, well, no. Oh, okay. You live with your parents, but you have like a brand new Mercedes. Wow.
It's like that
Okay.
meme, right? Of like that house that's super broken down, but it has a Bugatti in it, and like priorities. You've never seen it? I feel like everyone's seen it. Yeah, yeah, everyone's seen it. And also this like video I sent a friend like a while back, and it's like sneakerheads when the new Jordan comes out, and it's like changes one little line of color. It's like, I will give you $1,000. Take all my money.
Like,
take all my money.
Oh no! Like the latest model. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So what we're talking about is dream beyond material possessions, right? Dream beyond these things, right? Because when you die, you ain't taking none of this with you.
Yeah.
You know, you could have all the best outfits, all the cool hats, all the cool shoes. Great. When you die, though, there's probably going to be homeless people or even your own family members like scrambling for all the scraps, you know, like, because as you said earlier, right, we're selfish by nature. People are just selfish. So the second somebody dies, like, you see who's really fucked up right away. Like,
so can I get his PlayStation 5?
Yeah, like, so hey, what's up with that brand new Camaro that's in the driveway, man? I heard he was a little bit behind on payments, you know.
I can take over if you want.
Yeah.
I can take that off your hands, you know. Like, you're doing them a favor.
Yeah, exactly. You're the one that's doing them a favor. And then here's the thing, right? Like, you'll start flashing the car like, you know, God just wanted me to win today. You know, we're mobbing good today. You know, like, it's like, hey, isn't that the car that the dead guy was driving? Like, no, man, this is a different model. Like, no, we're doing good. We're doing good. We're eating good.
I put a little tree scent thing in there. It's good, bro. It's good. Trust me. It doesn't smell like dead.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, man.
People
are gross.
Aim for emotions is what I would say. Aim for moments. Aim for like things that make you happy. Truly.
Yeah.
The reason why I want to go travel and I want to go back to France and all this is because I was so happy when I was there. Not always. There were certainly bad moments there where I was not happy, but they were all, I remember, like, I think I mentioned this to you when I was there, like everything just felt raw, like just life. There was nothing, there was no buffer in between. Like either I was really sad or I was really fucking happy. There was no anything where I was like, for example, right now, if I get a raise, like, all right, cool. That's like a small little thing, you know, it happens, but then you have all these other things like happening here because you have so much in your life. When I was there, my life was so simple. It was literally just like, hey, let's try to be happy. Let's try to, I don't know, be cool, hang out with people, whatever it was. And that was it. Nothing else mattered. There was enough money to pay the rent. There was enough money to travel. It wasn't any extra. I wasn't traveling lavishly. I was staying in hostels. But it was a very simple and very, I was very in tune with my emotions in that moment. I mean, it was just me. There was plenty of time for me to analyze, like, how was I feeling then? How am I feeling now? Are we good? All right, cool. We're good. Let's go travel. Let's go have fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, this episode definitely took a turn that I wasn't expecting, but I think we'll definitely be revisiting this quote unquote dreams episode in the near future, you know, maybe a few weeks, a few months, and see how things play out for the both of us. But we're still here, you know, we're still working every day. We're still getting after it. You know, maybe the reason why I don't like talking about my personal stuff sometimes is because I don't want people to take it like, oh, this guy sucks at life, or like this guy ain't really figuring it out, you know, because I don't want to bum people out. Like, I personally don't care what people think, like if they think that I'm doing bad or whatever. But like, I don't want to come off as somebody that's like a Debbie Downer. You know, I definitely want to inspire people. And that's one thing that I've learned, you know, more so recently. It's like inspiration doesn't always just come from the good stuff. If anything, it more so comes from the struggles, right? From the bad stuff. So that's also why I've decided to speak more on it. But I don't want to give off bad impressions or negative vibes. I really do want to have people be happy, because that's what I want for myself. I really do want people to be uplifted, because that's what I'm actively trying to do for myself every day, right? So it's difficult for me to like, should I talk about it? Should I not talk about it? Like, okay, like let's get it a little bit deeper. Let's not.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I just want people to know that what we're providing for you is, you know, somebody to hear, and different life experiences to take, you know, notes from, as well as, you know, either direct inspiration or maybe we're bringing up questions, whatever, you know, we don't really know. That's honestly up to you, but point is we're trying, you know, that's what this podcast is about. We try. It's in our name. It's innate. That's who we are. And we're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to develop. So thank you for still being here. Thank you for supporting. And, yeah, I mean, it's crazy sometimes, you know, life takes you into random weird directions, but we wouldn't want it any other way, you know?
Yep.
No cookie cutter shit.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's pass the mic to Muhammad Ali, who has a very nice words of wisdom for us today. And they are as follows. If your dreams don't scare you, they aren't big enough.
One more time.
If your dreams don't scare you, they aren't big enough.
Facts. All right.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be sharing a couple additional clips. As Omar mentioned at the beginning, we will be making quite a few changes coming up, not only to the podcast itself, but to the overall, suppose, brand. Our approach is different. Just a lot of changes coming up that I think will be great for the podcast, for you guys, and also for us. It's always good to try new things, be more ambitious, and try to be more than we were yesterday. So definitely stay tuned for updates and new episodes. We're still figuring out this video editing stuff, so the future episodes as well will be probably better. Maybe Omar will put in some sound effects, who knows, make it spicy. And yeah, again, thanks. Appreciate the support. And we'll see you guys.
Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Spotify, I already said Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Instagram at the Intrynsic Podcast. Thanks, everybody.
What he said. I don't know if you're this way or that way, but what he said. See you guys.
All right. Thank you.